Hello everyone and welcome to the Very Reasonable Pilots podcast. I'm your host, Charles Lung, and with me as always is my co-host, producer, editor, and co-podcaster, Jacob Gloth. How are you doing today, Jacob?
I'm alright. I thought you were going to say co-pilot for a second there, and I was excited.
Oh, co-pilot.
But you didn't.
I didn't, no.
Just a co-podcaster.
Co-podcaster, co-pilot, coordinator of war. He's my cabinet member. He's my treasurer of war.
Okay.
Yeah. Welcome.
Is that because I do all the work?
Well, if we ever went to war, you would be the treasurer.
I would do the work of the war.
You would.
If we went to war against another podcast.
Yeah, exactly.
If we went to war against another podcast, it'd also be our podcast.
It would have to be
a second podcast that we have.
Because nobody listens to this. So if we were like, we're going to war with the Mark Maron podcast.
Yep. I mean, I guess we could do that. We could start some controversy.
All of our fans, go hit up Mark Maron on Twitter and tell him that that we've declared war on him.
Yep.
I like Mark Maron. It's just the only podcast I could think of.
I think I saw one of his stand-ups on Netflix, and it wasn't very funny, so...
Yeah, I mean...
I'm okay with war.
I like his face. I think he's got a funny face.
That's not very nice.
It's still true.
It's just a really mean comment.
It's not like a bad thing. It's not ugly, but his face is just he's funny.
Okay.
Nothing wrong with it.
Anyway, I've got an interesting one for you today.
Ooh, let's hear it.
That I think you're going to really like.
Give me this pitch. Shove it down my throat. I want it.
Now, I haven't worked out all the kinks yet, which is a problem.
I love
But I've worked out the premise and the characters pretty well.
Okay.
It's just the actual plot that's a struggle.
I love it. Let's do it.
Which is the best part. It's the best thing you want to hear. When I start pitching a show.
Yes, of course. I want to hear about all of the things you haven't done yet.
So I was thinking the other day, actually after I watched Girl with the Dragon Tattoo, which I talked about before, but I'm probably going to cut, so it's not going to be here.
Yeah.
Declare
war.
This is a bad movie. This is not a good movie.
We could declare war on David Fincher.
Yeah. The movie was just, it was too long. There's like a lot of, I don't know. I don't like seeing really awful acts in movies, and there's there's some things they really didn't need to show. That I feel like David Fincher's a little messed up for showing. Anyway,
we've declared.
I saw that and I was like, I want to do a journalism story. Because that's what that movie's about, but.
It's also about dragons and tattoos and motorcycles.
It wasn't really. There was one scene where you saw her back and she had a dragon tattoo. And I was like, oh, that's why it's called that.
Yeah, but isn't she a motorcycle rad?
She drives a motorcycle, yeah.
Isn't she a hacker or something?
Yep.
Yeah.
Those don't relate to dragons.
She's still...
the tattoo.
I mean, the girl with the dragon tattoo is a hacker, and there's all sorts of commotion happening.
She's not even like the main character though.
It's Daniel Radcliffe.
I'm pretty. It's kind of split between the two, but I think Daniel Craig might have some more screen time.
Daniel Craig, that was his goddamn name. I couldn't remember.
Oh, I thought you were just fucking around.
I was, because I knew Daniel Radcliffe wasn't correct. It was the only Daniel I could think of.
Okay. Well. Anyway. So I want to do journalism, but I was like, we kind of did that with Red Strings, and then your weird superhero one. I don't even remember.
1984 Meets the Boys.
Yeah, that's what it was.
Yeah. The one that I started with saying I don't have really very much to talk about for this one.
And then talked for like 60 minutes, and I probably cut it down to like 45.
Yeah.
Anyway, so I thought, how can I make this different? So I was thinking alternative future, all right? So where technology develops differently.
Oh.
And I was like, what's kind of like the thing that makes journalism what it is today? And I decided it was the internet. So no internet. Internet does not exist in the world.
Okay.
It's still the 21st century. But instead of solving the information crisis or the information problem,
yeah,
we solved the energy problem. So
So all of our stuff is like super green tech, but we don't
everything's battery powered. Energy's not a problem. Nobody pays energy bills.
Yeah.
We don't pollute the earth.
But there is no internet.
Cracked it.
Yeah.
There's no internet, though.
We still use like newspapers and stuff, but they're like made of biodegradable. Like it disappears in water and becomes, hydrogen cells or something. Whatever's good for the world.
I mean, that's an idea that could have been used and still could be used. But I was thinking like sort of the main methods of journalism in this information poor world are written. So you could do like a biodegradable material that you put in water or something. But I also really liked like magazines and like newspapers in like sci-fi movies where it's like it sort of looks like a newspaper, but it's it's constantly changing. Like it's actually a screen, but it's as fluid as paper.
Oh, okay. I like that.
So you could buy like one newspaper, and then you just like maybe go to a place and like upload it with the new stories of the day.
Yeah, maybe it updates like every morning. But it's...
Well, you have to like plug it in to update it though, because there's no internet.
Oh yeah. So it's like a piece of paper.
Yep.
I'm doing some Foley art. Hear that, audience?
Anyway, there's also radio though. So the tiers of journalism I have in this universe is the bottom tier is the newsers, which is sort of like a news wire services that just do like really short stories about like just the facts basically.
Yeah.
It's not really interviews. It's like man shot in this place.
At this time.
And that's sort of like the bottom tier of journalism. It's where everyone gets their start.
Maybe it's, if you've got the same idea as I do, I think it's like, would it be people walking around with radios? Like I would imagine.
Radio, we're going to get into that. Radio's a level up from...
No, I mean like they've got a walkie-talkie basically, and they just report news that they see or hear or like interact with back to a central hub. And then they take that and edit that, and like that's what they make. Is one idea.
Yeah, that could work. I was thinking that they basically your day is you try to find out as much things as you can, and then in the last hour of your day you write up all the stories and submit them.
Okay.
So like it's your entire day is just like 20 different stories that you're the only one who saw and everything, and then you write them up.
Okay, and then you can like, it could be like when you give checks to the mail, it's like a tube system.
Yeah. And then they like, you have the big newspaper machinery that's writing out the stories and sending them into little drives for the for people to download onto their little news tablets, whatever we want to call them.
Yeah. But it's like the information doesn't go through air, basically.
Yeah.
It's all hand. You have to have the thing in your hand, no digital.
Yep.
Okay. I like that.
I feel like I probably should explain this earlier also, but the journalism industry isn't is the fourth branch of government.
Oh.
It is completely independent from the others. But it's funded by the government. But the government has no oversight. It's all like just who's in the journalism industry decides who can join it.
Yeah. Okay.
And they sort of work with a meritocracy system where you start off in the newsers, so that's the newswire people, and then you move up to the middle tier, which splits into two. We have radio and midform. Midform is like typical like New York Times journalism. Like so. You probably work on like one story a day, and you have lots of interviews and quotes and research. But it's a longer story, but it's not too long. You don't spend that much time on it.
Yeah, it's 300 words.
But it's not like the newsers where you have to do like 20 stories a day. And radio is basically the same thing, except you do it for the oral medium, because people like radio.
Yeah, everybody likes radio.
And then the top form is mag. Which I just shortened magazine to mag because I thought it sounded cool.
I like it.
And that's long-form investigative journalism. And that's the top tier. That's where everybody in their career wants to get.
Yeah,
and you get like weeks or months to work on a story, and you're pretty set salary wise, and you're happy, and it's sort of the top echelon. It's like working at the New York Times today. It's like you're at the high end of journalism.
You're doing good. And I think that's good because I'm imagining at least one of our main characters would be one of the bottom tier newsers, right? So that gives them a lot of free time. That's good story-wise.
We have... I sort of wrote the idea of this story as a serious buddy journalism story. Mm-hmm. So it's serious, it's dramatic, but it's also kind of like a buddy cop story.
Yeah.
But it's 2 journalists instead.
And they're trying to solve a case, and one of them is by the book, and the other one is loose cannon.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes.
But no, that actually is how it is.
Good. I love a loose cannon. Fire away. I'm imagining, by the way, just things in this universe that are popping into my head. And if it's like the energy crisis and like the world is secure, it won't end from this stuff. Like it won't end from climate change. And everything's like enviro and green and stuff. And I'm imagining the magazines would be made out of stuff you could eat. Like paper products that you like aren't like a screen. It's like if it's a paper product, you can eat it. That's I think that's a must in 2021 in this
maybe we could have like
future.
So the way I have it set it up is that there's like different bureaus for journalism, and like in each city there's probably like 2 or 3 in each city, and so like one could be testing out like the new fancy tablet magazines that we were talking about, where like you upload a new one every day, and then some are like the edible papers that you actually go and pick up.
Yeah, and you get them, and it would be like now with pizza flavored.
It probably costs a little bit extra too.
Yeah, but
you get to eat it. That's a bit better.
Yeah, unless here it's like maybe just like maybe we treat them the same. You can still eat them, but they're like, why would you eat something everyone's hands have been all over? Don't eat that. So it's just
you could make it really cool too. You could have like a food review journal, and like each of the pages about the food tastes like the food too.
Ooh, that'd be pretty good. That would be expensive. That'd be like $50 an issue.
Yeah, that's an expensive thing, but you could really do a lot of stuff because with unlimited energy. I mean, we got flying cars in this universe and stuff. I'm thinking like Blade Runner flying cars, where it's like,
there's still a bunch of dials and buttons and stuff, but it's a flying car. I always liked that future more than the one we got. Like you can see in like 70s and 80s and even 90s sci-fi. Like, most of it is tactile. Like, there are buttons and dials and things, and you have to turn something and switch something on for it to work. Or, like, in Blade Runner, like, he says lights on, and the lights go on, and then he, like, does stuff and has to diddly with all the gewgaws. I like that more than, like, you just have a digital screen, and you say, Marianne Wilkins. That's your password in this situation. Marianne Wilkins. All right, now it's done.
Yeah.
I always like tactile sci-fi more than that digital crap.
It's more fun in like a practical sense. Like I'd rather, like with cameras, I'd rather manually focus a lens than use autofocus. Also because autofocus is just crazy and it doesn't work half the time.
Yeah.
But anyway, so our 2 intrepid heroes,
intrepid journalists,
are coming from the middle tier, and they're moving up to mag journalism.
Ooh.
So we have Edward, who's coming from radio. He did investigations and occasionally would speak on the show, but he was mainly behind the scenes. He thinks that the oral medium is the future. He's like, we need to just focus on radio. People like radio. If we could get a picture behind it, that'd be even better. Like, Edward's kind of like forward thinking. Wants television, but the technology doesn't exist right now for television.
It doesn't?
Such.
We're just saying.
I kind of wanted to keep it strictly to radio.
Okay. Yeah. Okay.
So, future, but lets him. Oh yeah, here we go. So he likes mag journalism, but he'd prefer to do radio. But radio doesn't let him do what he really wants to do, which is just work on stories all the time.
Yeah.
So
maybe
moving up to mag.
He didn't like radio because like, but he would have to like cycle in advertisements in his stories and try and work advertisements into his stories, because that's, you know, they're probably, I'm imagining this radio company, the government are taking like sponsors and stuff. So maybe he gets like aggravated, like he's like, I don't want to work for these sponsors, man. They're fucking, I'm not here for you to just make money off me. And then he goes and like quits there and applies for mag journalism.
Yeah, and that could be good. Just to go back and explain the TV thing real quick, live television doesn't exist. You can watch movies, but there's no way to like get live television.
Okay,
so like, they were to broadcast a show, they would have to record it and then send it out, and that sort of defeats the purpose of like the live capability, which radio has.
Maybe like, so there's no cable. You can't like watch TV. You can just like you could, and let's say that like you can't get movies in your house. Let's just say that like VHS hasn't come around. Maybe like VHS is movies.
Well, we could have it, but maybe it's just like worse quality or something.
Yeah. Than a movie theater. But movie.
Yeah, because I like the idea that you can like go to a movie rental place and get movies, but maybe it's like, I don't know, it's only old movies or something, and you got to go to a theater to watch anything new.
Yeah, I like that. All right, and we could make. Now I'm just thinking about characters. We could, if we have like a Best Buy. Best Buy still exists in this universe, or Blockbuster Video still exists in this universe. Yeah. Well, then one of the side characters has to be a Blockbuster employee.
That could work. We could have Edward. That sort of fits with this character. Edward's maybe a big movie person.
Yeah.
And he's constantly going to get different rentals. Maybe we can loop in the side character as part of the story as well.
Or maybe he quits radio journalism because he's sick of all the advertisements, and he works at Blockbuster Video. And I'm what's the other guy's name? Edward and
Fredrick.
What's Fredrick's like?
Okay, well I didn't finish Edward. So Edward, he's quite unorthodox. He likes obscure writers, and he can write a really good narrative. He's a very good writer. But he's doesn't have a very good work ethic. You know, he works kind of slowly. Also kind of the reason he wanted to get into mag journalism, because he gets to work slowly. He's not very healthy. He smokes a lot. He wears multicolored sunglasses. Usually has on a light tan leather jacket with like colorful button-ups. I kind of imagine him with like similar clothes to Ryan Gosling in Nice Guys.
Oh yeah, I like that. Maybe I'm trying to think of like how glasses, like what the smart glass in this universe would be. Because it's still 2021, so there's still going to be technology everywhere. It would just be green technology, so everything would be biodegradable.
But there's no internet as well, so the sunglasses, you know, whatever they do, it can't be like too crazy.
Yeah, maybe everything has a clock in it in the future. Everything has a clock in it. No digital clocks.
Check what time it is.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe we can add stuff later with, when we figure out the plot. And I was thinking he might wear a flat cap. I don't know if he's going to wear it all the time, but I feel like that fits his, sort of lazy journalist slob vibe that I got going.
His attitude. I dig it. Yeah. I like his attitude.
And then we have Fredrick, who's probably going to be called for short. He came from mid-form journalism, so he's used to writing. He's a good journalist, but he's really only an okay writer. He's very orthodox as opposed to Edward. So let's say like for example, like Fredrick would always write in inverted pyramid style. And Edward Edward would be more willing to sort of lose the style and focus on writing more with more entertainment in mind.
Yeah. Would you say Fredrick was a tight cannon? Would that be?
Maybe.
I'm just trying to check. We have one loose cannon and one tight cannon, and I'm liking it.
Okay. He focuses more on the information than entertainment, so he's very much just facts. No colorful words. Always wanted to be a mag journalist. I actually have it shortened here, which I thought I might use this abbreviation to refer to journalists. I was thinking Journo. Do you like that?
Journo. Yes, I do like that, because it sounds kind of like an insult.
Okay. Yeah.
It has to be able, like, you fucking journo.
Yeah, I kind of like that, actually.
For people who don't like journalists, because there's a large portion of the population who don't. Yeah,
especially in this universe, because they're kind of like, I mean, they're the government now.
Yeah.
I mean, people like them because they sort of work on, they're an axis against the government. But people that like what the government's doing are usually upset with journalists.
Yeah, but I think it's like journalism became like public internal affairs. You know? That's what I'm imagining as this in this universe, that like journalists sort of became the internal affairs for the government. So they can investigate the government and they tell the public.
Yeah.
You know? Is that the idea am I picking up what you're putting down?
Yeah, kind of. And sort of going into that more, I was thinking that there could be an element of sort of like buddy journalism that used to exist in, like, I guess it probably still exists today, but like in the 80s and stuff, where like journalists and politicians hang out a lot and they go out and drink together. And I was thinking Edward and Fredrick were pretty against that. And while like some of the higher ups are like really for that, like, you got to drink with the politicians and write favorable stories about them.
You want to get famous, don't you? But it's like being a corrupt cop. Taking
bribes. Because while the politicians don't have a direct control over the journalists, they can like, they can still kind of restrict them in ways and manipulate the budget and such.
Yeah, I like it.
Okay, back to Fredrick though. Very traditional, as I said, has a very good work ethic. Healthy, hates that Edward smokes. Typically wears like a green and blue plaid shirt with a dark brown coat.
Sweater vest?
No.
He screams sweater vest.
It's like a button. I was thinking like a button down, green and plaid shirt, dark brown coat, and wears reading glasses when he reads.
Okay. Can he wear... Okay, for one episode, at least, he's wearing a sweater vest. And then, like... But he's wearing a jacket the entire time, so it just looks like he's wearing a vest. Or a sweater. And then there's about to be a fight or something, and he takes off his jacket. And Edward goes, "Were you wearing a sweater vest this whole time? Really?"
And probably Fredrick really serious, like, "Come on, what are you talking about? We don't have time for this. We need to focus on the fight. How are you obsessed with the goddamn sweater vest?" And
are you guys serious? Are you seeing this? The sweater vest? Jesus Christ, dude. You're making me dislike us. And then he hits somebody with a bat or something.
Yeah. Okay. So going into it a bit more, I'm thinking the pilot, Ed and Rick, are going into work. We sort of see their different routines. So Ed is a bit lazier and more laid back, maybe.
I'm imagining
goes for a cup of coffee, has like a smoke, and then like just like chats with people in like a coffee shop up until he has to like, he's like 2 minutes away from work and has to like, or 2 minutes like of starting work and has to like run to the job. While Rick has like a rigorous morning routine where he like goes to the gym, has like a green weird shake thing.
Yeah.
And shows up to work like 10 minutes early.
I'm imagining like a scene, like it's one shot, but you just see their feet, and you see like Ed's feet, they're like in his room. The alarm goes off, he knocks it off the table, it falls to the ground, he gets out of bed, and then like falls over, and then cuts to Fredrick getting up, and he's like, he gets a thermos, he gets his coffee, he's doing push-ups, and you see it on the ground, and then Ed is at the coffee shop, you see his feet, and he's like smoking and talking, and there's a whole bunch of people around, he throws the cigarette on the ground, puts it out, walks with his store-bought coffee, and Fredrick is walking with his thermos, and then they both meet at the door.
Yeah. That would be good. I was thinking we could maybe do like a split screen shot. So on the left, it's black to start off with, and on the right, we have Rick's scene start up, and it says like 6 a.m. and he like gets up, starts working, like, you know, gets all of his stuff. Maybe like reads a bit in the morning, is like reading a book. With
coffee or something, or breakfast. He doesn't like coffee.
Mm-hmm.
He only drinks coffee after 10 a.m.
Yeah. Maybe at like 12, or let's say work starts at 10. Maybe at like 8:30, he's like helping at like a homeless shelter or something ridiculous, and it hits 9. And that's when Rick gets up. Like, we were just looking at not Rick, sorry. That's when Edward gets up. We've been just looking at the one screen for the entire time. And that's finally when the left one shows up.
And it's like...
And he, like, has a cigarette in his bed. Does the falling thing that you mentioned.
Maybe he's like, oh, I'm still a little woozy from last night. Ooh. I mean, I'm imagining both of these as silent. But he's like, ooh. And he gets out of bed, like, woos, and then he sits back down and has a cigarette. And then he's getting his, like, pants on in the next shot. And he's combing his hair. While,
we could have the nice shot where, like, I've seen this in a few movies, where he's, like, trying to, like, jump into his pants, and he just, like, falls over, face first onto the ground.
Yeah, and I'm imagining this guy as, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, but as being, like, Alan Moore, but bald at the top. And he's got, like, a bit less facial hair. But just, like, long, crazy black hair. And, like, maybe a mutton choppy mustache. But he's got a bald spot at the top.
I was thinking about that, because I don't really know what I want to do with the face and hair for either of them. But I guess that could work, yeah. What was I going to go for, though? Oh, yeah, maybe so he, like, spot. You know, goes to smoke and hang out at the bar. So we get the idea that he's kind of sloppy, but he's not like a complete loser. You know, he goes out and he's very social and he's hanging out with people. And we get the opposite feeling from the other guy who's, you know, he's got a very robust routine, but doesn't really involve any other people.
Maybe he's like, in the morning when he's like making a shake, he gets a phone call and he picks it up and it's like, hey mom, how's it going? And he just had like, we do like a couple shots where he's just like on the phone with his mom, like looking at the stuff he can't do while he's also on the phone, and then he's like banging his head against the wall.
Yeah, that'd be good.
Like, I don't want to talk to anyone. This is my morning. And he should have a pet. What kind of pet?
Probably a cat.
I think something weirder.
What, Rick?
Yeah.
I think Edward could have a weird pet, but Rick needs like a super normal pet that like doesn't, maybe like a really well-trained dog or something.
A snake.
A snake?
Yeah. But like the kind of keeps it in the enclosure and it's a little one. He's like, oh, you're such a good boy. And he kisses the snake.
I could do that.
I think that would be good.
Okay. All right, so we see their routine, sort of get an idea of who they are. They meet at the building. Maybe like they meet at the door and they like are like, oh fuck this guy, like this guy looks like a slob, and the other dude's like, this guy looks like a prick, you know, he's all dressed up and everything for work.
Look at this, he's wearing a fucking tie. Wait, I'm wearing a tie. Look at this dick with his belt on. The fuck do you think you're trying to impress? And we could both be like listening to their thoughts as they're like in the elevator. And it's like, welcome, gentlemen, to your first day of work. And I'd like you to sit next to your partner. And they both sit down, and they're like, fuck.
Fucking this guy, yeah. Like maybe they're both excited. Like, Edward's like, oh, I hope I get like some old like expert who's like doesn't care about the rules anymore. He just wants to get the stories and probably likes to have a drink after work or something.
Yeah, he wants
and
a
Rick's
grizzled
like, I just want a really good mentor. I just want someone that will help me really progress in life and get farther and be good at journalism. And they sit down next to each other, absolutely disappointed in who they got.
Yeah, exactly. I'm imagining while they're like, when they meet, the thing that could be like the first thing that happens with them is like Edward drops something and maybe Rick's got his like thermos, like he's holding it above, like in front of him, and Rick drops something, or Ed drops something and goes to pick it up and like bumps his head on the thermos and spills coffee all over Rick's shirt. Oh. And then they're like, and then Rick puts on the sweater vest.
You really want the sweater vest to be a thing?
I don't really care about the sweater vest.
Sounds like
I think
you
it'd
do.
be funny.
And maybe also we could make it a thing that it's really hard to switch partners. Like it's almost impossible to switch partners. Once you have your partner, that's who you're gonna be with for like your entire career.
Or maybe it's like freshman year of college. Like once you get a roommate,
you're stuck with them. So they're stuck together for like a year or something.
Yeah, because I don't think it should be like forever. But it's great partner teams are what happens.
Okay.
Like that's
we could have sort of like
works.
a class system within the mag.
Like veterans.
Yeah, so you have like maybe they call them like the freshies or something, the new people, and then you have like the sophomores, and then you have everyone else above that is like the seniors, and then you have the people that just sort of they don't really have a title, editor. But like that they've been there for a long time.
Yeah,
they're obviously the top of
the food chain.
Yeah,
I think that could be good, and I'm imagining Fredrick as being like really ripped, but like skinny ripped, lithe, if you know what I mean.
I'm thinking like maybe Tom Holland.
But he wears glasses.
Like he's not like actually like he's not The Rock. Or,
he's not huge, but he's
like that. He's pretty toned though.
Yeah, but he's got this bad haircut and like these dorky glasses. But he's like he could kick someone's ass.
Yeah.
But
maybe he has like a
Beatles
glasses. Bowl cut.
Yes, I love it.
That'd be funny.
And yeah, I like it.
All right, so they're assigned a pretty low-level case. Most of the episodes are probably going to be about them.
Introducing
and they're going to
each
be
other.
Assigned a case, a missing persons case.
And
that's where we get into the mystery of the story that isn't super well developed, but I'll run through pretty quickly. So they're going to get assigned this case, and it's a missing girl from a club at night. So she went missing from this club. Her friends reported her. And they're like friends that she just met at the club that night. And so our people go in to investigate, and they're like, this is, there's a lot of weird things about the case. A lot of things not adding up. And eventually they find out that she wasn't actually at a club, like dancing and having a drink or whatever. She was going to the counseling sessions that they have in the basement. They have like discreet counseling in the basement of this club. And so they're confused. It's like trying to figure out like why did she go to counseling? Like, because that probably might have something to do with her disappearance. And so they eventually find out that she was beaten by someone close to her.
Oh.
And originally they suspect the boyfriend. And as they're like sort of investigating, they find out that she's actually the mayor's daughter.
Oh my lord.
So we're getting into more of it. And they're like, holy shit.
So much intrigue.
I know. They're like, was she kidnapped? Was she killed? Why? Like, what's happening? And so if they go through all this...
And why hasn't the mayor reported she's missing?
I know, we're getting to that, Charlie.
I'm just excited.
So they're going through all this. They're trying to figure out like what the case is. I haven't really figured out like actually how they're going to figure out any of this information or where it's going to lead. But the ending is that they eventually find her, and sort of they find out along the way that she ran away. She wasn't taken, and she ran away because her father is really abusive, but he's so powerful that she sort of had to pretend like she died.
Oh, okay. This seems like a season arc, not an episode. Like,
this isn't part of the episode. This is the whole season.
Yeah, that's what.
Maybe I didn't explain that, but the first episode is really just them getting to meet each other.
Okay.
Rick and Edward.
I'm imagining in this universe, because all the technology is like moved away from digital, like bionic limbs are much more feasible.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, we can do that.
Like we replaced our digital tech with they have robot arms now, so there's no cloud. You can't find your music in the sky, but you can have a robot arm. So that's just an idea. I'm just trying to think of what technology.
Wow, you really interrupted the end of the mystery with that, didn't you?
I didn't interrupt the end of the mystery.
So they eventually find her, right? Find out her father is abusive. Maybe they find that out earlier. But now they finished the story. They found the girl. They've done the investigation. But they decide that because of who her father is, they don't want to publish the story, like, truthfully. They don't want to say that she's still alive and she's here because she doesn't want to be found. So they lie and say she died.
I didn't expect that.
Yeah, boom.
Boom.
So we get like a little ethical dilemma there at the end.
So, yeah.
With like, well, they found her, she's alive, and her father probably wants to see her, but she doesn't want to be found.
Yeah, maybe she's got like a house set up.
Yeah.
Like she has to like have some sort of thing set up.
And maybe they've been like sort of reporting this to different people. So in the beginning, they were just reporting to their editor, but once they found it was the mayor's daughter, they've been like working kind of closely with the mayor. And so he knows that they're looking for his daughter, and he wants to know where his daughter is. And so that's why they have to run a story at the end of it.
Yeah.
And so they just say she died.
Maybe they blow up a car.
So, and she died in the car.
Yeah.
Okay. Maybe halfway through the story, they can think she died when they find like a dead corpse.
Yeah, they
think it's her, but they find out it's not her. And they just use that as the dead body.
The ploy story. Yeah, I dig it.
Yeah, so that's
I like this journalism idea very much.
I'm more fond of the characters and the setting than I am of the actual mystery.
Yeah. Well, we can work on the mystery.
Yeah.
I'm just imagining this weird world where digital technology didn't ever take off.
Yeah, I was thinking like doing weird stuff too, where like records still sort of exist, but like they're really small now.
Yeah.
And you can
I like that.
You can maybe you can have like a little portable record player, and you like play the little tiny record.
It's like you close it into a capsule, and like they're really like hard to break.
Yeah.
But you've just got like little tiny discs.
And maybe you can set them up on like a little like tray, so you put like 8 records in a row, and like there's a mechanism that will like just switch to the next record and start playing it. Maybe there's like a shuffle button that you can do. So like it'll play one song on one record, and then switch to another random record, play a random song on that, and just keep going around. I like the idea of doing like things that we have really simply today, like shuffling through songs on Spotify or something, but with like a really complex mechanism.
That has to like pick.
Yeah. So it's like doing something that's easy today, but in a really complicated and unintuitive way.
Yeah, because we don't have digital technology.
But it looks cool. So.
It looks rad. Yeah. Rocket boots. Rocket boots.
Rocket boots?
personalized flight would be totally up the alley of this thing.
Yeah. That would make it pretty crazy, though. Maybe it's like there's like weird regulations around it.
Maybe that could be. We could change the mystery, so they're trying to find a jetpack.
That's the whole thing.
Yeah.
Trying to find a jetpack. We could do that if you want, but we're not going to.
But then they give the jetpack to the mayor's daughter, and then she flies away.
She flies away. She's not even like part of a mystery or anything. She's just the normal mayor's daughter, not abused or anything. Just.
No, she flies away to Spain.
To Spain, yep.
Yeah.
All right, well, that's all I got, really. If you'd like, we can just keep rambling about this universe and all the different things that could be. I'm
imagining Edward has lost a finger.
Edward?
Yeah.
I was also thinking, do you think Ed or Eddie? Because we got Fredrick as Rick, and maybe when Edward's angry at him, he'll like say Fredrick as his full name instead. Or he'll say Fred. I think Fred would be a good thing to say when he's angry at him.
Yeah. Edward, to me, doesn't sound like the kind of guy who would say, Fredrick Hamilton.
Fred.
Get over here. But Fredrick seems like the exact kind of person who would go, Edward G. Willikers, or whatever his last name is. How dare you? So I think if he calls him Ed normally. But I think the pilot episode should be like, they get into a smaller caper together. Like, it doesn't have to do with the main series. It should just be like a small get-to-know-ya with adventure and intrigue.
Yeah. Just to go back to the name thing real quick, we could do, maybe in the beginning, Fredrick almost always calls Edward, and towards the end he calls him Ed, to show that they've like sort of bonded more.
Is this gonna be like I'm just imagining on the tone of this show. Is there going to be a fight scene every episode? Is there no fight scene? Yeah.
I didn't really picture our characters being very competent in the fighting thing. I feel like they're more likely to run away.
Yeah. Is there going to be a threat of danger, or is it mostly people going to be like people standing in a room and talking and sitting in a room? Either is fine. I'm just curious. Because I think that there's probably, with this cool idea of a universe that has no digital technology and instead moved on to like biomechanics and other stuff like that, there's definitely a whole lot of space to like take these characters and just have them roam and discover new cool things.
Yeah.
Like maybe the first couple episodes or a few episodes throughout the season could just be them like exploring this different weird part of the society that we want to explore, you know? And then they write a story at the end of it, and maybe at the end of each episode we can write the story. And then that's what I say. But I think that was a good idea for a television program. I would watch it. Certainly give it at least 3 episodes.
Did you notice anything about the 2 characters, Charlie?
Not at all. What are you talking about?
No, okay.
No,
you didn't notice anything, maybe exaggerated traits?
Let me get my multicolored sunglasses.
Did you notice that one of the characters his name might have just been your middle name?
I put on
those are exactly the glasses. He just put on a pair of glasses that look really similar to Edward's, and that's because that's what I was thinking of when I wrote that.
I didn't notice any similarities that they might have to real life
Obviously, they're
people.
Extremely exaggerated, and some of the characteristics are meant to more contradict the other person's.
I think we should have that thing that that South Park has at the beginning of each episode, where it's like, these are not real people. Any people who might find that there are similarities, that's totally not. We didn't base these on real people.
They're completely wrong. Nope,
not there. All right, well, thank you everyone for listening to the Very Reasonable Pilots podcast. I've been your host, Charles Lung. With me as always has been my co-host, Jacob Darling Gloth. He's a darling. He loves editing podcasts, I bet.
It's all right.
Is it yeah, he loves it. That's as excited as he gets. Yay. All right. Well, goodbye. Thank you, and please tell all your friends about us. Do it. I demand it. Even if it's like I listened to this really shitty podcast the other day. Goodbye.
Bye.
I love you all.